Michigan State football held scrimmage number 2 on Saturday, and here is who shined for the Spartans.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
This episode of Locked On Spartans is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, thank you all so much for tuning in to Locked On Spartans. It's your team in green and white 5 days a week right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Guys, we're going to kick off this show and pretty much talk the whole show about something that happened behind closed doors on Saturday on a field that must have felt like it was 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit because, yes, on a sweltering Saturday, your Michigan State Spartans, they held fall scrimmage number 2. Now, if you remember the first one, hey, guys, the defense won it. It was great. Now, with a little bit of a caveat there, that's not to say the defense didn't, just do well within their own right a few weeks ago, but a lot of the offensive starters were held out in that first scrimmage. Just, scheduled rest days, some precautionary issues going on. But this time, the stars were out on this one for Michigan State here. And before revealing who won this one, the offense or the defense, first and foremost, guys, just us, like us Michigan State fans, the team, Spartans everywhere, won the scrimmage on Saturday because full, clean bill of health leaving the scrimmage. And that's not to say there aren't some injuries that are going on in fall camp right now, but no one left that scrimmage with a detrimental injury that should keep them out for opening night here. That is now less than 2 weeks away, my goodness gracious. But guys, with the star power on the offense, maybe it's not a surprise to hear that they won the scored portion of this scrimmage here on Saturday. So we're going to stick with the offense here in this first segment. We're going to go over who shined, names to keep looking out for, any position battles that are starting to have a clearer picture right now. But it all starts with the wide receivers when you talk about offense, right? Like we heard that Nick Marsh, he had highlight plays to the surprise of absolutely nobody. Omari Kelly is shining, and not just in the receiving game, but also the return game too. Now, he's not the only guy doing return duties right now. We'll get to that in a little bit. There's still like 40 names, it seems like, for punt and kick returner. But yeah, Omari Kelly had some great moments. And we're going to go back to the conversation we actually had with Justin Thin before this weekend started here. And one of those questions that we had for Justin when we were talking about the depth chart position battles is wide receiver 3. Like it looked like, hey, going into this fall camp, Christian McCray, the guy out of Kent State. But now you're hearing that Rodney Bullard's name, the guy that had over 1,000 receiving yards at Division II Valdosta State. He's been having a really solid fall camp. And also Braylon Collier, true freshman out of Sandusky, Ohio. And look, we've been on the Braylon Collier hype train ever since he committed to Michigan State. We said that, hey, he's going to be a great receiver one day here in East Lansing. Thought it would be like, 2-3 years for that to blossom, but it seems like that he could very well also be in the mix for this wide receiver 3 role right now. So we were told that Rodney Bullard had some highlight plays out there on Saturday. There's actually a little social media clip out there where they splice everything together, like 1-2 second clips really, really fast. But one of those was a pass reeled in by Rodney Bullard, 60, 70 yards in the air. And we'll tell you who threw that ball here in a little bit. But just sticking with the receivers, all 3 of those guys looked really strong. It's going to be a tough decision as to who is going to win that third wide receiver role outside of Nick Marsh, Omari Kelly, of course. But that's a good problem to have for this staff right here. It's not because, they're just trying to pick out of a bad bunch. No, all 3 of those guys, and that's not even to mention Evan Boyd, too, who will have his name in the mix. Yeah, that's a really, really solid position group, and it only got even better on Saturday. So if you guys are just tuning in because, hey, it's less than 2 weeks till kickoff and you weren't paying attention during the entire offseason, those names might sound a little confusing. Yes, Braylon Collier, true freshman, you know who he is. But Christian McCray from Kent State, just as a reminder, he accounted for 9 of the 17 receiving touchdowns for the Golden Flashes last year, who were not good, but if there's any bright spot, it was one Christian McCray. And then Bullard, just like I said, more than 1,000 receiving yards at Division II Valdosta State. Just one of 18 players last year to have at least 1,000 receiving yards at the Division II level. So, guys, the running back picture looking a little clearer after Saturday, too. It looked like that was Mekhi Frazier, Brandon Tullis that were having the best days out there amongst the 3 running backs that participated here. And a lot of people I spoke with really remarked on Brandon Tullis, and this even goes before the scrimmage. is just commenting about how physically imposing he does look in that running back room. 6'1", 215 pounds. Now, Mekhi Frazier, he's not a jockey by any means necessary. He's also 215 pounds. He gives up a few inches to Brandon Tullis, but that's the kind of runner that Tullis is going to be this year for Michigan State. He's just going to be kind of what you saw quite often at Oregon State if you were, one of the people like me that were up late watching those games when Jonathan Smith was there, when they were in the Pac-12 trying to chase the lost bets that you may have had earlier that day. But yeah, they always had this physical, tough running back. Looks like Brandon Tullis is going to be that guy right now. And yeah, he shined on Saturday as well as Mekhi Frazier. So look, there's 4 names. It could be an even split of the pie in week 1, each person getting 25% of the snaps here. But right now it's starting to look a little clear that it could be Tullis, Mekhi Frazier, maybe Eli Tautalver on third downs, and then Jace Clarizio, who is having a good camp, of course, even as a true freshman. He'll be getting a little bit of carries too, I would imagine. So that's the latest that we know about the running back battle. It looks like Tullis is starting to inch a little bit further along with Mekhi Frazier here. So quarterback. I can't believe it took us this long to get to the quarterback. And, of course, it's my own fault. I'm the one that produces this show. But, yeah, come on. Let's talk about the position that is just under a microscope this year, because this team's only going to go as far as the quarterback position is going to go here. Now, the guys that I talked to, they said that Aidan Chiles looked confident, one person said, focused off the jump, another person said, and then someone just said straight up exciting. Yeah, that word plays here. I like that. We like an exciting play every once in a while, don't we? So, hey, of course, we already know that Aidan Chiles, he has the arm, right? He's got the physical tools. He had a long touchdown run on Saturday around midfield. I think it went for 50, 60 yards. People couldn't remember the exact yardage, but it was definitely around midfield. And my goodness gracious, you go back a few years, Brian Lewerke, what was that, a 55-yard run against Western Michigan to start the season? Whew! Tell me that's not going to hit like crack next Friday night if that were to happen. That would send Spartan Stadium into a frenzy if we can get one of those touchdowns. But enough about Aidan Chiles. And this is going to go back to a conversation that we had with Justin Thind a few days ago, of course, but we were talking about Alessio Milivojevic, true sophomore quarterback. This is your backup quarterback, and let's just get in front of it right now. I'm not trying to bring up quarterback controversy or stir any drama. No, Aidan Chiles is the starter. There is no battle right now. Could things get completely out of hand during the season? Sure. I hope we never have to have that conversation, but there is no drama, okay? But with that said, when we were talking with Justin Thind, it was under the guise of, hey, he's getting a lot of buzz right now. Is this just coach speak? Is this all legit that they are actually really thrilled with how he's doing as a sophomore? And Saturday's scrimmage, yeah, that's not going to erase any buzz whatsoever, because that 60 to 70-yard throw that Rodney Bullard reeled in, that was a throw from Alessio Milivojevic. And we've been hearing nothing but good things about his arm, even before he came to Michigan State. That's, why the Spartans wanted to go get him, is they loved the cannon that he had attached to his body. But also, hey, you know what? He's learned the offense. It's coming along really well for him, even as a sophomore. So, yeah, if you don't want to see this kid play this season, I say that with all due respect. I think the world of Alessio Milivojevic, obviously. But the backup quarterback is someone that you never want to see. But if Michigan State has to see him, I don't think it's going to be like a detrimental season is absolutely 100% completely over, like it would maybe just, a few other years or with a few other backup quarterback situations that you've seen, whether it be Michigan State or somewhere else in college. So I know that there is a confidence in Alessio. I know that he showed why there's a confidence on Saturday. So that's the skinny on one Alessio Milivojevic. But yeah, I would expect a lot of deep shots this year. There was a lot of deep shots from what I heard on Saturday, and that shouldn't be a surprise because Michigan State, Aidan Chiles, last year had the 5th most 20-plus yard passes in the Big Ten. Now, 5th most deep shots, 38% completion, though. That was the 9th best amongst conference players last year. That was all the starters, that is. I'm not counting guys that just had 2 attempts and they completed one of those. So you hope the completion percentage can pick up. But, yeah, with the weapons that you have on the outside, the cannon of an arm you have with Aidan Chiles, I don't think that should be a shock to hear that they had a lot of deep shots on Saturday and that could be a staple of the offense, but just wanted to reiterate it. doesn't hurt to just, hey, hammer a point home right before the season. Guys, we're going to talk a little bit more about the offense. We're going to get into the defense here too. But first, need to talk your ears off about a product I use all weekend long, DripDrop, guys. Now, DripDrop, what on earth is this? Now, if you're trying to stay on top of your routine, whether it's like workouts, lawn days, going on campus, tailgating, golfing, or what I did over a weekend, you're in a wedding party, you got to officiate the wedding, you got to be in your top form. Well, it all starts with DripDrop, guys. Now, when I'm on top of my hydration, everything just works better. My energy, my mood, my focus. And DripDrop is a doctor-developed and scientifically proven for fast hydration. It uses a perfect balance of sodium electrolytes and glucose to help your body absorb fluids quickly, delivering 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of a leading sports drink. Guys, I've started using DripDrop maybe like 3-4 weeks ago, and I'm never going back, like point blank. It doesn't say this anywhere in the ad copy. I'm just talking to you personally right now. Not only is it great electrolytes, you're going to feel great. You're going to feel focused. You're going to get back on your feet after a long, hot day. It just tastes great, though. Like, I'm rocking the citrus, zero sugar variety pack. My favorite flavors, cherry limeade, outstanding. Strawberry lemonade, my goodness gracious. And their orange, delightful. I'm not going to stop using DripDrop, even if they, for some reason, don't want to be a friend of this program anymore because, guys, it's just that good. It's great. Right now, DripDrop is offering Locked On listeners 20% off your first order. Just head to DripDrop.com and use promo code LOCKEDONCollege. That's all one word, LOCKEDONCollege. That's DripDrop.com, promo code LOCKEDONCollege for 20% off. Stock up now before that heat hits hard. So going back to Michigan State football scrimmage on Saturday, actually my next note doesn't even have to do with the scrimmage, really. How do you like that for a little curveball? This comes from Spartans Illustrated. Rhino Blanes, friend of the program. He does great work over at Spartans Illustrated. Did a little write-up about everything that he caught from the scrimmage on Saturday. Now, of course, I'm not going to go read every single thing because, well, you got to pay for the good stuff on Spartans Illustrated. But I'm going to use just a few comments. Cleared it with Ryan. Thank you very much, Ryan. Much appreciated. And this is worth talking about with the tight ends here because heard some whispers. There was like one picture on social media where you can see far in the background Jack Velling in a walking boot, which I thought those were just reserved for Michigan State basketball players in the summer. No, apparently your tight ends can wear them too. So that was interesting. Now, the positive update is no, Jack didn't play in the scrimmage on Saturday, but hey, what Spartans Illustrated did find out is that he is out of the boot now. So whether that means he's going to be back in practice starting tomorrow, if there's going to be a scrimmage later on this upcoming fall, this upcoming week, if he's going to participate, no idea. But look, even when it was heard that he was in the boot, we were told that it's not going to be anything that's going to impact the start of the season. But it's better to see it than just hear it. And him at least getting the boot off obviously only means good news for Michigan State here in a tight end room that, like we talked about the other day, guys, with Matt Cyber. That's right, former tight end, if you missed that episode, has a lot of promise this year. So you're going to have a lot more promise if you're starting tight end, and the Mackey Award watch list guy can use both of his legs. But yeah, that's the update on Jack Velling. Now, one other position group we did not get to on the offensive side of the ball is going to lead us down like quite a paradox here, guys. It's the offensive line, because I heard that to start the scrimmage, like the pass protection wasn't like great. It wasn't a disaster. It was just like a little like rocky to start. And the paradox is that as a Michigan State fan that saw the pass rush not have a sack for 6 straight games last year, is that good news actually that our pass rush made the offensive line look bad? Or is it actually bad that our offensive line didn't really start the scrimmage too great against a pass rush that has a lot of question marks? I don't know what to believe. This is the fun part about combing and parsing through scrimmage notes. Because if one side of the ball looks good, well, naturally that just means the other half has to look abysmal, right? So I don't know. It was a little bit of both is what I've heard, which I know isn't like a great answer. They started, figured it out. Obviously the defense did enough to win this scrimmage. But yeah, all in all, the offense did look good. It wasn't like a dog walking. It's not like, back in the day when I would throw on Madden 2004, get Atlanta Falcons, Mike Vick, and then tune up some NFL European team on rookie mode and win like 112-0. Like, it wasn't that. At least that's what I was told. It was actually like, still pretty competitive on the field. But yes, the offense shined. They had their starters back. That's the side of the ball that you could be most confident in going into this season, of course. So let's talk about, though, The other side of the ball, the defense. And guys, one of the people at this scrimmage, old friend of the football program, guys, Ken Manny, the former guy that was the strength and conditioning coach for what felt like 40 years here. But hey, he had a great tweet. He highlighted a bunch of things here, guys. But one of the things that he highlighted of what he saw at Saturday's scrimmage was, quote, the thumpers at linebacker. Now, I got conflicting reports if Jordan Hall even played in the scrimmage or not, but that's beside the point. We don't have to talk more about Jordan Hall. I mean, because all that we've heard about so far at fall camp, rave reviews from the kid, right? Like Joe Rossi talks highly about him. His teammates talking high about him. I mean, he could be arguably, or maybe not even arguably, the best player on the defense going into the season this season. So, look, whether he played or not on Saturday, I think is irrelevant, but we heard really good things about the other linebackers, just like Ken Manny tweeted on Saturday. And that goes for Darius Snow, Brady Pretzloff, Marcellus Polium. Those are some of the guys that we heard highlighted too. Now, Spartans Illustrated, we didn't get any names of edge rushers that were making some noise, so I apologize for that. Really thought and really tried to get some headway of like, hey, who are the names of the edge rushers? Because I'm going to say this for a third time now, back to our conversation with Justin Thind on Friday. We said, what's that room looking like? What's the pecking order looking like? Yes, Tyler Gillison looks like he entered fall camp as the number one guy for that role. But how close is the race? Is there any shuffling? Couldn't get you guys that, but Spartans Illustrated, they did say that the edge rush position, just that position single, generated about 5 or 6 sacks over the course of this scrimmage. And there's a lot of snaps in this scrimmage, guys. So, I mean, 5 to 6, yeah, that'd be a lot for a single game. There's more snaps in a scrimmage setting than there are your typical Saturday game, if that makes sense. So, the cornerback position we talked about. Also, hey, Chance Rucker. I've been hearing that, hey, he's looking like he's going to be cornerback number 2, right behind Joshua Eaton. Justin Thind has heard the same. And then we talked, okay, is that like close between him and guys behind him like Malcolm Bell, Nijay Burt, or is there a pretty wide gap? We may have gotten our answer that it is a pretty razor-thin race for the second corner role here because he did some with the first team. He did some with the second team. Malcolm Bell got some run with the first team. So, yeah, I mean, the cornerback room, it's not like the word I want to use is crapshoot, but that would be just painting the picture incorrectly here because it's not like they're just panicking and wondering, oh, my God, who's going to play this role? They have good options there. It's just Joshua Eaton seems solidified for one corner spot, and then it's Malcolm Bell, Nijay Burt, Chance Rucker, all just in the race for that other starting corner role. Now, that's not to say that whoever loses that will never see the field on Friday next week, but yeah, you get the point. It's going to be a close one for that last corner spot there. Overall, heard the corners held their own, but then I did hear, obviously got overwhelmed by the talent that Michigan State's receivers have. Which there's the other paradox, right? Like, okay, well, that's great that our wide receivers are balling. They are great. They're going to be the rock and foundation of this team, possibly. But what does that say about our corners? Because, that's not the only Big Ten team that they will face the entire fall. They're going to face 10 other Power 4 teams coming up. But then I started to look. Okay, like, week by week, who would have a better wide receiver room than Michigan State? So let's just walk down this list, class. Boston College, I think you're going to be fine there. Like, I don't think Boston College has a better wide receiver room than Michigan State. Now, USC, headlined by Mekhi Lemon, they might have a better one or just even as good as Michigan State. Nebraska with Dane Key and then their supporting cast, that's pretty solid too. Indiana with Eli Surratt. That's a really good receiver. I think the world of that guy. And also, well, that's just a great offense that they run there under Kurt Signetti. Michigan's an interesting case because as we all know, there could just be a turd with 2 popsicle sticks and a pipe cleaner sticking out of its head, and they would speak the world of it. For some reason this offseason, any clip or any headline that I see about the wide receiver position coming out of their brass is not positive. And if they're being negative on something in their own program, that must mean it's a real dire situation. So I think that Michigan's receivers, I think MSU would probably get the nod over that one. Minnesota, I'm feeling okay about too. Penn State would be tough, especially with their new transfer, Trevor Pena. Iowa, Maryland, please. I can't respect the Terrapins last week of the season. That's a long way of saying, yeah, sure, the corners may have started really good, eventually gave headway to the really talented wide receiver position at Michigan State. Is that something to worry about for Michigan State moving forward here? Yeah, maybe. But also, like, maybe not, because I feel like Michigan State, like, they're just going to be a better wide receiver unit than maybe this secondary will see more times than not this season. Is that copium? Maybe. Is it hopium? Perhaps. I just like to think it's honest dialogue. I think there is something to that, and fortunately, we won't find out until the season actually starts, guys. So we're going to keep talking about the scrimmage a little more. Get to a mailbag question here, but first need to talk your ears off about Gametime, the single greatest ticketing app out there, guys. And have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family? God, I know some of you guys will do that next Friday at Spartan Stadium. It's going to be a lovely day, and you're going to say to yourself, why are we missing this game? Why watch it on TV? Let's get to the actual stadium. Let's enjoy the buzz. Let's enjoy the hype. Guys, the easiest way to grab those last-minute tickets without the stress is Gametime. Gametime makes buying tickets so fast, so simple, and the prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to kickoff. And they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and the lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. And it is so easy with Gametime. It is 2 taps, and the tickets are sent straight to your phone. You won't believe how easy it is. And if you doubt me, just go ahead and try it for yourself, guys. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. It's last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. All right, let's keep getting back in here about the scrimmage on Saturday, guys, and just a few other notes about the secondary here. Spartans Illustrated, they highlighted Justin Denson. He had a pass breakup, a few tackles, and he could very well be in the 2 deep here in a secondary room that is filled with a ton of names. If you would remember, or if you missed it in the spring, they brought in what seemed like 50 guys into the secondary room in that spring cycle. And amongst all those guys are guys that could play the nickel, as well as they could play safety, and in some cases as well as they could play corner. And that is what's going to help Justin Denson's case here, is that last year, as a true freshman, played in 7 games, but he played a little bit of everywhere on the field here. So that's the note about the secondary room right there. And on the topic of the secondary room, actually, I've been saying this guy's name wrong, apparently, and I was brought to attention by, I believe, a family member of a day Willie, not a day Wiley, the way I've been saying it the last few years. So first and foremost, I apologize to the Willie family for butchering that name for countless shows over the last few seasons. And second of all, I will make a strong effort to beat Wiley out of my brain, so I will just say your son's name correctly. A day Willie. So there you go. Sorry I don't have any notes on him in the scrimmage, but yeah, I just felt so bad about that when it was brought to my attention that it's Willie, not Wiley. So sorry about that, guys. Now, we did have some good notes about some true freshmen. Once again, Derek Simmons, the freshman out of Frankenmuth, 4-star kid, top 250 kid in the country, the best recruit by far for Michigan State last year, like, just keeps getting his name mentioned after scrimmages, after practices. Like, it's hard to think of a, like, defensive true freshman that's had this much hype behind their name going into their first season. So if that's going to mean that he's a starter, I would be still shocked. But, man, as we keep hearing his name over and over and over again, it'd almost be surprising for him not to have an impact on the field starting next Friday. Special teams, just some quick notes here. The starting kicker, Martin Connington, I heard was out. So that's that. Not anything serious is what I've heard. He still should be good by kickoff. And then, yeah, about the return game. I mean, yes, Omari Kelly, he was returning a few things. Alante Brown was out there returning a few things. I heard Rodney Bullard was in the mix too. There are just so many names for the return men still. And I don't think it's for like a panicking, oh, we're just trying to find the best of a bad situation. I think there are actually good return candidates this year, and they're just still trying to shuffle through what that's going to look like. And it could be even a situation where it just changes throughout the season. I mean, do you want your receiver that's, out there for 60 snaps per game, still also returning punts? Maybe, possibly, but I could also see why they maybe would just want to pass the buck to, I don't know, whoever doesn't necessarily, quote unquote, win that wide receiver 3 position battle here. So just to cap it all off, guys, let's just read that whole Ken Manny tweet. actually, because that was great that he was able to be there and also gave us a nice little insight. Great looking, well-trained athletes everywhere is what he said. Tough physical interior play on both sides of the ball. Sumpers at linebacker, like we already talked about. Legit tight ends is what he said. The wide receivers and defensive backs are fast, long, and skilled. Running backs are quick, athletic, and tough. QB1, wow, in all caps, all talented. And then in all caps, impressive leadership. So the vibes around fall camp right now seem to be pretty good, right? And, let's get to the mailbag question right now. This is from Matt C. We haven't got a mailbag question from Matt C. in a little bit. Matt, love you. Thanks a lot for the question, man. He writes to lockedonspartans@gmail.com. Do you think this MSU football team has the mental toughness to turn this thing around? They folded in a real bad way anytime adversity struck last year. The bar should be 8 wins. I think there is the talent to get there, but Smith and Chiles need to prove it. I think something worth pointing out, which I don't think is nothing, is all the starters, as far as I know, all the starters this year, are either returning starters from last year or even the new starters are upperclassmen. It's not like last year where, hey, some starters are true freshmen in some cases, like Nick Marsh, or true sophomores. No, this is a veteran, experienced group, whether it be playing the field or actually, being in the college game for quite some time. I would expect, and dare I say, I'd be really disappointed if this team didn't show more mental fortitude when those tough moments started to happen, which is inevitable. Obviously, we don't want them to happen at the same clip that they did last season, but when it happens, don't let it snowball into something. And especially, too, at the end of last season, and we've talked about this, too, time and time again, is after that Rutgers game, Aidan Chiles pretty much said it without saying it directly, yeah, we had some guys quit in this locker room. Okay, that's incredibly upsetting to hear. It's almost puzzling because, what else are you here to do at Michigan State? You can't stick it out mentally for 12 games. But, okay, you know what? I actually put myself in the cleats of some of those players that stuck around, who were recruited by Mel Tucker, stuck it around for Jonathan Smith's first year as, a trial period. If you're not completely bought into what the new coach is bringing to you after a tough season of incredible ups and downs, okay, fine. If you want to have some mental slips, if you want to just not be there 100% the last weeks, okay. As someone that didn't commit to the guy, fine. Whatever, sure. It's a trial period, right? Now, if this happens again, when you've already gone through your first cycle of guys entering and exiting the locker room, your recruits, your transfer portal guys, building the culture that you have. Now, if this happens again where guys are quitting, so to speak, by the end of the season, I can't rationalize it. I can't come to the defense. I can't spin zone that in any conceivable way. To have that happen 2 years in a row would be flatly inexcusable. So, look, I know at the micro level, just hey, don't let a fumble in a game turn into, just a snowball of a 21-0 run by the other team, or the macro level, keep everyone all in the boat here during the entire season. Yeah, I do think it's got to be better. And do I think this team has the mental fortitude? Yes, I do. And I know that, hey, every single team across the country feels really good about themselves in fall camp. I'm not dumb. I'm not blind to it. I know that Michigan State and their coaches and their players aren't going to come to the microphone during media availability and say, yeah, we're not actually things are not actually looking good right now. I actually think we were looking a lot better last fall. That's just something they're not going to say. But I do, and this could be where it sounds silly, I do think it is genuine this year. I do think that there is something to being in a system for 2 years, not learning a new defense on the fly, not learning a new offense on the fly, and also to the benefit of Michigan State being one of, I think, 2 or 3 Big Ten teams to return your head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, your starting quarterback, and your star receiver. What Michigan State has isn't common. And I think that really helps our Spartans too. So, yeah, as far as just vibes, if you will, mental fortitude, if you will, I think going into the season, yeah, it's in a good spot. Easy to say when you're still undefeated, but they also had a lot of trials and tribulations last year to grow from and learn from. Now, we can only hope that they actually did it. I think the leadership is there for them to do it. Been hearing good things about everything, so that's where I am. I'm hoping. and hopeful for a reason, Matt. So there you have it, guys. Hey, thanks a ton for listening to Locked On Spartans, guys. You are all the best. We're going to have some guests lined up this week. We got Stephen Brooks coming on later this week. We got Brian Lewerke coming on later this week. Still working on a few other guests. And guys, at the end of the week on Friday, that's right, 1 week until kickoff, we are going to go for our charity drive show. We're going to try to raise a bunch of money for Believe in Miracles. It's a Michigan-based organization. They grant wishes for kids that are critically ill. So how this is going to work, I'll put all the info in the description of the show, guys. Send any donation you can to Believe in Miracles. Again, the link is in the description below. It's just a screenshot of the donation, and then write your mailbag question, and then we're going to get to any and all questions on Friday's kickoff show. So, guys, it's a great organization, and I think Friday's going to be a fun way to kind of just get our week-long countdown to kickoff starting next Friday. But, guys, until then, take care of yourselves. Love you all. Go Green.